Folks, before we get started, we got a couple of housekeeping things. As you all, I'm sure, are aware, today is technically our last class, our last speaker. We've talked about next Thursday, the event downstairs, and how you folks have been volunteered for that event. Now, I've heard from everybody except one person, and I can't remember who that is. I sent that person an email along with Chelsea Ford. Is Chelsea Ford here by any chance today? No? Okay. About half of you are already committed to either Dr. Silks or Inna Sofer. The other half have been volunteered to work an hour. I have got, if you will, on the attendance sheet that I'm going to pass around, I've got two options for you, depending on your interest. One is to work an hour for Inna Sofer with the event set up. I have the sign-up sheet here. If you're interested, come see me after class for that. Secondly, Dr. Silks has got a food prep. The event is on Thursday. She has food prep on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, some of that may be of interest to some of you. You're actually going to get in the kitchen, you're going to wear chef's whites, and you're going to screw around with the food. Don't screw around with my dinner that night. I don't know what she's got in mind for you, but learn the smoking technique for the ribeye steak we're going to get. But here's the downside of that. It's the majority of the day deal. It's 9:45 on Tuesday to 3 o'clock, and it's 8:45 on Wednesday to 3 o'clock. That may be too long for some of you. You only owe me an hour. And it may conflict with some of your classes or your work schedule. If you can do it, let me know about that. She'd love to have you. If you're going to sign up for the hour for Inna Sofer, see me after sign this sheet, and I'll send the attendance sheet around. Any questions on any of this at all? You owe me an hour, owe the school an hour. Counts toward your grade. We'll take attendance. I'm going to be at the dinner. We got a big department fest event next Thursday night.
You requiring them all to attend?
Well, we're not going to have a speaker, so they got volunteered to contribute their hour from class to set up or tear down at the event.
They're here to learn, and you're making them do physical labor?
Well, part of the deal here is that they got to work. They got to be in. They have to have a work schedule. I'm not sure how many hours it is. I know it's at least 1,000 hours, I think. And so they have to work part-time, full-time, be an intern. So sooner or later they got to work anyway. And believe me, as you know, this industry isn't rocket science, and it's always, an interesting learning process anyway. So anyway, I will pass the attendance sheet around. See me to sign up afterwards, and let me introduce Jim and Grant from Memphis in May. And they're going to tell you a little bit of what they do. We all know what Memphis in May is and what a integral part of this community these guys are. And they're going to explain a little bit more of that to us. And then I might count on ask Grant to, since he's a fairly recent grad from Union University over in Jackson, who's kind of new to this business. He may want to tell us a little bit about how he got into it and where he started, and maybe interesting story for some of you folks that are wondering how you're going to plot your career. Anyway, Jim, please take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Rohn. Is it professor or doctor?
It's, I go by my German heritage, hair doctor.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Jim Holt, and I'm President and CEO of the Memphis In May International Festival.
I've had the privilege of leading the festival for 18 years, going into our 19th festival next year. Happy to speak to you today. I'd like to know, before I get started with my presentation, how many of you have attended Memphis In May? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 out of 8. Okay, 8. You in the blue, are you up, or are you just leaning against the wall? Have you gone to the festival? Okay. So decent percentage of you. Let me ask, what events you guys have attended? The ones that have, that raise their hands. So what have you gone to? Music festival? And barbecue? Any of the international cultural offerings? Okay. All right. Well, I've got a presentation that I'll run through, and then I'll open up to questions, or Mr. Grant here might tell you a little bit about his background and what he's done. Memphis In May International Festival is one of the largest and one of the oldest civic celebrations in the United States. Started in 1977. And it started very small. It was a volunteer initiative that came out of the Chamber of Commerce. And we've been around for quite a few years, had a pretty consistent program menu. We've added a couple events this last year, but I'm going to give you a little background of the importance of events. Are any of you, I know you guys are in the hospitality and resort management, are any of you looking to go into the event business, or are you basically, so several of you, 4 or 5 of you are looking for that. Good. Well, this presentation will give you a little background of how our festival serves the tourism market and brings notoriety and media attention to the city of Memphis. City of Memphis, our hometown, 24th largest city in the United States and the 42nd largest metropolitan area with a population of about 1.3 million. We're known, as I'm sure you all know, as America's distribution center, primarily because of our geographic location and because of the fact that we have the world headquarters for FedEx here. Our port in Memphis, I think, is the 3rd largest inland water port in the country. Our rail system, I think we have the 4th ranked Class A rail system. We have a lot of train traffic going out of here. And of course, I-40 and I-55 are 2 very, very active roadways, so which makes our city very, very successful as far as for distributing goods, which is why we have so many distribution facilities here. We're home to FedEx, International Paper, and AutoZone, 3 Fortune 500 companies. And we also are known as the hardwood lumber capital and cotton trading capital of the world, in case you didn't know that. Tourism, what drives engagement? It's estimated that there are 4,000 cities in the world with populations over 100,000 people. Now, all cities are the same, but they're all different. They all have some similarities, but they have different aspects and elements that kind of define their culture. And those aspects, those uniquenesses to each city is what drives a lot of tourism traffic to various cities. Get back up, you're going too fast there.
Sorry.
That's all right. Culture, attractions, climates, events, location, all of those are unique attributes that make a city distinctive. I just got back on Saturday from Colombia. I was down there for a week, and I'll talk about that a little later. It's our honor country next year. And we visited Bogota and Cartagena, which were 2 very distinctively different cities, and they each had unique cultural activities and attractions that made them attractive for tourism. Now, our city, we're known for our music culture. We have a great, rich tradition as the birthplace of rock and roll and the home of blues music. Graceland is the city's #1 attraction as far as attracting tourists here, even though Elvis has been gone for, I guess it'll be, is it 40 years next year?
Well, let's see, 77.
Yeah. So it'll
So
be 40
it's
years.
39 this year, or 40 next year.
He's been dead for 40 years, but we still have tens of thousands of people that travel to our city from all over the world to visit his home. Sun Records, the recording studio on Union Avenue where Elvis, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee recorded. I drive by it every day on my way to our office, and invariably you'll see a line of people going in tours, major attraction. So our heritage as far as the birthplace of rock and roll holds a lot of appeal to tourists to visit our city. In addition to that, as you guys all know, I'm sure you guys have all visited Beale Street, haven't you? Grant's laughing, of course they have. That's where blues music began. We've got a rich culture and history with that, even though that a lot of the icons that our city is known for have passed on. B.B. King, Bobby Blue Bland, Fergie Lewis, Memphis Slim, Albert King, Little Milton, all weave part of the cultural history and heritage of our city. In addition to the rock and the blues, we also have soul music. There's a lot of attention and attraction to our soul music heritage with Stax Records, High Records. Stax was the Motown of the South back in the 60s and 70s. Brought out a great many acts that are still played around the world today. Very, very popular. Sam and Dave, Booker T, the Bar-Kays, Ann People, Eddie Floyd, Great Al Green, Isaac Hayes. So, the musical heritage that we have in our city is a major, even though a lot of these stars are dead and gone, and they were popular in the 60s and 70s, it still kind of defines our city. And a lot of people that look to visit Memphis want to visit those music attractions, but they also want to have another activity, and that's where one of our events come in, the Beale Street Music Festival, which is the opening event for our month-long celebration. And let's see if this has any blues, rock, or soul in it. See the video.
Yeah, let's find out a little bit.
Sounds a little techno to me, but this is some film clips, I guess, from this year's Beale Street Music Festival. Okay, that was exciting. We'll go to the next screen. In addition to our music heritage, what we're known for is our barbecue cuisine. A lot of people around the world travel for different culinary cuisines, and Memphis is known as a capital for barbecue. We have over 200 barbecue restaurants specializing in pork barbecue. The Matador Network named Memphis the #1 city on the planet for barbecue, I guess this last year. Google search yields 941 results when you go checking for the best Memphis barbecue. So we have a lot of tourists that come to our city just to eat barbecue. And as a result of that, we developed back in 1978 a barbecue cooking contest. It started out being known as the International Barbecue Cooking Contest in 1978. I think they had 16 teams participate. The event started in a parking lot next to the Orpheum Theater, and a lady named, next slide.
Oh, well, this is a video.
Oh, this is a video, okay, well, we'll look at the barbecue video then. Didn't catch
No,
it. Sorry, Grant.
no sound on this one.
No sound.
Just pictures.
Should they hum?
They can hum.
You can hum along, maybe, you want to hum for them?
It's over.
Okay.
Maybe you can go back to that techno music again.
Well, there's that possibility. Anyhow, the barbecue contest started in '78, very, very small. And there's some information later on that we'll get to, but I'll give you a little background on the festival. It's grown now to where we attract, I think we had about 240 some professional, quasi-professional, thinking they're professional, competition barbecue teams from across the country and around the world, and a huge number of attendees. So let me give you a little background again on the festival. I think I mentioned that it started in '77. It came as an outreach and endeavor from the Greater Memphis Chamber of Commerce. They had a little bit of funding left, and they wanted to do some type of celebration downtown that would draw the citizens of Memphis together. Downtown in the mid to late '70s, a lot of cities in the U.S., the downtown business community were shifting out to the suburbs, and that was the case with Memphis. So downtown didn't have a lot going on. And traditionally, a downtown's kind of like the heartbeat of a city. And of course, with the river there being a center point, they wanted to do something to bring the masses back downtown to celebrate the city. So they decided that we would have a celebration, and wanting to give it some added depth and notoriety, they made the determination that each year we would select a different foreign country and do a comprehensive salute. So since 1977, each year we pick a country and we do a salute that involves cultural activities, educational activities, and economic development programs. The idea behind it was to expand global awareness for our citizens here by giving them educational opportunities, and at the same time, the celebration to a foreign government helps elevate our city's profile. We invite and attract foreign dignitaries each year to our city as part of the salute. We'll have the ambassador from the visiting country, and usually we'll have some high-ranking officials, some ministry-level government officials that will come and become familiar with our city. And we have a very comprehensive education program which starts down with kindergarten all the way up through high school, which provides an opportunity for students to get a little bit more in-depth global view. It gives us a chance to showcase our local culture to tourists that will come into town, as well as the visitors. And it also serves as a mechanism for bringing the citizens together in celebration. Key elements: music, barbecue, the Mississippi River, and the Island Country. So, 1977 started very small. The first country saluted was Japan. Total operating budget for the festival was $50,000, which seems like a lot, but it's really not when you get into events. The first festival featured an outdoor symphony program. It's the very first time the Memphis Symphony had performed outside. We had exhibits, lectures, competitions, dances. We had $54,000 in actual revenue, and they lost about $6,000. The lady pictured there on your right, the second year when they introduced the barbecue cooking contest, her name is Bessie May Cathy, or Bessie Lou Cathy. Bessie Lou Cathy won the contest. Again, there were 16 teams participating, and I think she took home a $500 prize. The budget for the festival, because it had been so popular, the first year doubled, more than doubled, to $120,000. And the first Beale Street Music Festival, produced by Memphis in May, occurred in Handy Park, which now has the amphitheater down on Beale Street. It was just an empty field. And at that point in time, back in '78, Beale Street was like a ghost town. I think Abe Schwab's was the only business operating. Everything down there was boarded up and closed down. The festival was very successful, just about more than tripled in revenue that second year, and generated its first profit of about $68,000. Now, we just finished this past May our 40th anniversary salute. We celebrated Canada, which we had previously saluted, I think, back in '79. We had about an $8 million budget for the 2016 festival. Currently, the organization, when it first started off, it was a volunteer initiative. You had a lot of civic-minded people wanting to do it. The chamber provided some office space and funding support, but it was largely a complete volunteer effort initially. We now have an office downtown Memphis on Front Street. We've got 14 full-time staff members. We have about 900 community volunteers, and if you're interested in events, you may want to think about coming to our Volunteer Expo in February. There's a lot of different committee opportunities to give you some practical experience. We had about 163,000 ticketed registered attendees in 2016. 34% of those were local, which means that, quick to the math,
66.
there you go. 66% of the people that attended came from outside the Memphis market. So we got a pretty significant tourism draw for our event. We had attendees from all 50 states and 12 foreign countries. Actually, we had more than 12 foreign countries in 2016. 66% of the attendees were from outside the 50-mile radius of the Memphis metropolitan area. 42% of attendees came from outside of 200 miles. So it's really amazing how events draw tourists to a city. People may have always wanted to come and visit the music attractions in the city of Memphis or come sample the world famous barbecue and to wait for an event to make their travel decision. Our international component we do, as I mentioned, with our salute to an honored country each year, last year being Canada. We'll do exhibits at area museums, public displays at the library, lectures. We have a film festival. Typically we'll feature a foreign film from the honored country each week during the month of May. Photography exhibits, we'll bring in guest chefs from the honored country. And then we also bring in performing art troupes. Last year, Grant, who do we have from Canada? Traces. We did a dance troupe. Montreal's known for their circus art, so we brought a fabulous kind of Cirque du Soleil group to the Orpheum. And in addition to that, we had a theatrical production, I think came from, come on, Grant, Ottawa?
Sure. I'm not sure about that one.
He doesn't know. With this great theatrical program we did at the Howland Center. We do a variety of different activities and events, and of course during our music festival we highlighted the country with, I think we had 3 or 4 artists from Canada, and then we had of course the national champion barbecue cooking team from Saskatchewan, I believe it was, that came in for the World Championships. So we have a lot of activities highlighting the honored country. In addition, we've got a citywide education program. I think I touched on it earlier. We produce a curriculum guide each year. We do a high school student exchange program. We bring in a visiting college student from the honored country to live in Memphis for about a 3-month period, work in our office and gain some understanding of our culture and also work on the festival. We provide teacher training. We have in-school performances where we'll take troops into local elementary and high schools, middle schools. And then we open our cultural offerings like the Orpheum Theater to schools on a field trip basis free of charge. So there's a great deal of activities. I think last year we had about 35 total cultural programs and activities and events for Canada. In the other aspect of our festival I touched on earlier, the Beale Street Music Festival, a 3-day primarily rock and blues music festival, but we've kind of, as music has diversified, we have a lot of other genres and forms ranging from Americana to EDM and hip hop and so on and so forth. Our World Championship Barbecue Contest, which is incredibly popular. So popular, we've been doing it for 3 days for about 30 plus years now. We're expanding to 4 days next year. It's going to open up on Wednesday night. It's the largest pork barbecue cooking contest on the planet. This year we're going to have $117,000 in cash prizes. And this past year we introduced 2 new events. One called the 901 Fest. You know, we do a lot of our activities celebrating music, barbecue, the honored country. We wanted to do something to pay tribute to the city of Memphis for the 901 area code. So all the programming featured musicians, artisans, activities and such focused on Memphis and 901. It's a 1-day festival, very, very popular this year. Ended with a fire show and a hair show over the Mississippi River. And before that, which occurred Memorial Day weekend, we introduced a new run. Are there any runners here in the room? Competitive runners? No one runs? You don't run from class? We introduced a new run focused on the Mississippi River in downtown called the Great American River Run. It was a half marathon and 5K. Had a great turnout for that. We had people from 23 states or 16?
23.
23. Beale Street Music Festival. This is a picture of last year. Oh, okay, great. Facts and details. Tom Lee Park's where we do our major outdoor events. I'm sure you guys have all been down there overlooking, it's a beautiful site overlooking the Mississippi River. It's a great place to be if it's warm and sunny. Not so great if it's rainy and a little muddy, but that happens sometimes with outdoor events. It's a 25-acre riverfront park. We feature 4 stages at our event, have approximately 62 artists over the 3-day period. We average about 27 to 30,000 people a night. There's some random photos. Last year we had 81,000 people attended, 50 states and 12 foreign countries. We reinforced the Memphis culture at this event. I mean, it's a music festival like many, and there's a lot of music festivals around the country, but unlike a lot of the music festivals out there, we try to use this event to reinforce our heritage. 24% of the artists featured in 2016 were Memphis or have Memphis heritage. There's Mavis Staples, who played last year, the Stax record, great. In addition, we use, is anybody familiar with George Hunt, the commemorative posters that we issue every year? Okay. We need to work on that a little bit, Grant. They don't know anything about it. We've had a local folk artist, George Hunt, who's widely known and nationally known, creates an original painting each year in honor of the festival. He's been doing it for 25 years. This year's his 25th year, and we release a commemorative poster celebrating the festival. And his posters become quite collected. Some of the early ones you can't buy anymore. They go for $1,000, $1,200 for a poster. So you need to check that out next year, because I believe this will be his 25th time doing it. He's probably not going to do it much longer. We also endeavor to reinforce the local culture with food and concession items, barbecue, catfish, and so on and so forth, so that the event kind of ties to the city. Of course, we have Pronto Pups and your normal carny food. The blues tent is a big draw. We have a lot of the Memphis acts that we feature that are in a blues tent. In addition, there's a couple artists that we featured this year: Julian Baker, Memphis Act, the band Camino. So we take the Beale Street Music Festival, so you look at it, if you look at the lineup when it's announced in February, you'll see interspaced in there quite a bit of Memphis talent, unlike a lot of festivals that are done just for commercial gain, because it's designed to help promote our culture to those people that are visiting from out of town. The other big event we have, the World Championship Barbecue Contest. As I said, it's the largest pork contest on the planet. Teams participate in one of three categories: rib, shoulder, or whole hog. And we also have competitions for chicken, exotic, anything but, seafood, sauces, and so on and so forth. And exotic sometimes gets a little interesting with barbecue rattlesnake and armadillo and some unusual meat.
Alligator.
Alligator, yeah, that's an annual one. We have 4 constituencies for our World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. At the heart of it, it's a competition. The teams pay an entry fee and are there to compete and hopefully emerge as a world champion. We have competitive teams. Last year we had 235. Average team will have about 20 members on it. Some of them have up to 40 or 50. We also have a group of judges. We've got coming up here in about 2 weeks a judging seminar, because all the judges that are down there judging the barbecue have to go through day-long training and pass a test in order to qualify to judge. It's not just a matter of random taste and, oh, that's good. It's a very involved process. It involves a pretty complex computer scoring system, and the winners, the world champions, are normally determined by hundreds of a percentage point. In addition to the judges and the competitive teams, you have invited guests from the teams. Several of you said you've been down there. I don't know if you were guests to teams or not, or just down there having fun. And then in addition to that, we get spectators from all over the world to come down because of our city's heritage for barbecue, and they've seen it on some of the many barbecue or food shows on TV and want to come down and experience it firsthand. In 2016, we had 66,906 attend. We had teams from 22 states and 5 foreign countries. And this does not draw as significant of an out-of-town, but it still has a decent amount of attendees. I think it's 20% plus. I don't know if it's on the slide or not. As part of the competition, we do what's called a best booth contest, where the teams, if you've been down there, you'll notice some kind of, there's a lot of very decorated booths, but you'll see a lot of them that have the motif of the honored country. That adds pageantry to the events, and those teams that compete for decorating the space can win cash and prizes. In addition to the barbecue cooking contest, we have different activities that go on. One of them that's very popular is called the Miss Piggy Idol contest, where you have a bunch of men who drink a lot and get dressed up in women's clothes and pig clothes and sing and dance on the stage. Why they do it, I don't know, but they seem to enjoy it, and it's pretty humorous to watch. In addition to that, for people that travel to Memphis or have an interest in barbecue and want to know more about competitive barbecue, we do a cooker caravan taking the patrons into the barbecue team so they can see how they prepare them. Some of these barbecue rigs cost $60,000 to $80,000. They're really decked out. They have a lot of high-tech elements to them to give them a competitive edge in the competition. We also do a Kingsford Tour of Champions, where someone who hasn't gone through the barbecue judging class, if you want to go down and sign up, you can go and actually judge teams. There's a small fee associated, and I think you get to go to 3 or 4 teams, you know?
4.
4. Grant has all the answers right back there. Glad I brought you, Grant. The competition for this is very intense because the winner who's crowned the world champion at Memphis in May gets a lot of notoriety. They get national media. In addition to the prize money, and again, I think it was $117,000 last year, maybe even more this year. I think it is. I think it's about $130,000. And as a result of that, their cookbook sales spike. They can sell sauces, rubs, and we've even had some of the champions open up restaurants, become very successful restaurateurs. Judging, as I said, is very, very rigorous. We have a computerized scoring system. Each team is judged by 7 different judges, and they've all been trained. 4 of them are done in a blind box, and then they have 3 on-site judges that go out. So it's when you get down to the top 10, those people know what they're doing, and they've been judged pretty extensively. Media attention. This was another reason why the festival was started. If you remember that first slide when I talked about the 4,000 plus cities across the world of 100,000 more, every city is competing with another city for people to move there, for businesses to locate there. So all cities need to have positive media attention. And our event has generated and continues to generate each and every year significantly positive media attention for the city. Recently, National Geographic named us as one of the 20 must-see places to travel to in the world. And of course, they mentioned, when to go was during the Memphis In May International Festival. The weather is beautiful during May, and it's a great time to take part of the activities. Travel and Leisure named our Beale Street Music Festival last year as one of the, I think, top 20 festivals worth traveling for around the country. And I think there's, last count was 400 or 500 plus music festivals that are all over North America. So that was a big honor for us. Those are some of the media that have covered us in recent years, so it generates a lot of positive press for our city. There's some, go back to that last one.
Yep.
There's a lot of other festival 300 named our Beale Street Music Festival, the top 300 festivals in the world. We had coverage from USA Today, Travel Leisure. USA Today named our barbecue the most prestigious barbecue cooking contest on the planet. It's a pretty significant amount of media attention that helps set us apart and makes us desirable for tourists to visit, for people that come here and visit, maybe thinking about locating here. We also, as a result of our activities that occur during May, help feed the other tourist attractions in the city. I mentioned earlier that when you're going someplace, if you're going to go to St. Louis or Chicago, you may say, I want to go visit because there's some cool stuff there. When would be a good time to go? Well, if we go when this festival's going on, then we could go see that in addition to the local attractions. So what happens during the month of May here in Memphis is all of our attractions get a lift. We serve as a catalyst to not only increase the traffic to the city, but also increase the amount of revenue that's generated. Hotel operators generally have their highest occupancy rate and their highest room rate during the year during our major event weekends in May, which can be pretty significant. We had the general manager of the Peabody Hotel, who was our board chairman last year, and he told me, he said, the Memphis In May International Festival is worth an incremental revenue growth between $3 and $5 million to the Peabody Hotel. So that's just one property in the city. In addition to the hotels, which is very easy to track and very tangible, the museums get more visitors, restaurants, car service, public transport. the number one time of the year for taxi cabs in the city is during May. I'm sure that we're spiking with Uber. They've been a sponsor of ours for the last couple of years because people take advantage of those services. Downtown Trolley, we're hoping will be back next year. The number one week of the year for the Downtown Trolley was during the Beale Street Music Festival every year. So they had their little fire challenge. And the number 2 week of the year, every year, was during barbecue. So you can see that the events that we put on not only attract people, but drive revenue and taxes for a variety of different services and businesses. Economic impact study. So in addition to entertaining people that live here locally, attracting tourists, our events have a very significant contribution to the local economy. We just did an economic impact study from this year's festival that we released in, I think it was at the end of August. And it indicated that we had an $88 million impact on the Memphis market from our activities during May. Direct spending by non-resident visitors, those people that we're talking coming outside the area, totaled $38.2 million. And the festival's activities supported 1,138 jobs locally and produced local tax revenue for the city of Memphis of $2.8 million. So events are not only fun, they're very important business for a city on a variety of different levels. Next year, we're saluting Colombia. It's our 5th South American country. I was just down there last week. We had a site visit and we had about 30-some meetings in Bogota and Cartagena. So it's a very vibrant, rich culture down there, very interesting. So we'll be bringing a lot of elements from that country to Memphis during May. I hope you guys will participate and look at getting involved and attending our activities and events. Is that it? Grant, are we done?
That's it.
All right. Questions, answers? What would you like to know?
Well, Jim, I'm gonna start it off.
Okay.
And these folks may or may not know this, but you folks have some qualifications or some entry requirements for the barbecue contest.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just not Joe Doe next door neighbor six-pack that puts together a couple of his buddies in a grill and,
Well-
and decides to enter the contest.
That's true. We open the contest up so anybody, I mean, you could have your class here do it as a group activity if they wanted to. We open up application, anyone can participate. It is a little expensive, but we have a division for starters called patio porkers, which is low cost and you can actually cook with a small grill that you may use at home. Although the competition's pretty intense, and I think we can limit that to about 35 or 40 teams. Most of the teams are very actively engaged in competition barbecue. And we, generally speaking, will have teams that we turn down every year because we run out of space. And we look at criteria. There's certain teams that if they finish in the top 10 or have won another competition around the country that will automatically take. But it's not a guarantee if you apply for it. But it is open to the public. So you can enter, Chris.
Well, I'm a pretty good eater, but I'm not much of a
You like
cook.
to eat, so.
And of course, this is a year-round planning event.
Like I said, we have an office downtown on Front Street. We have 14 full-time staff members. We work all year round producing the event. We have different smaller activities that happen throughout the year. We take a little bit of a break in June, and by the 1st of July, we're starting planning and getting going for next year. We've already rolled out some of our educational activities. As I said, we've got a judging seminar coming up next week. We did the site visit. We're solidifying programs for our international salute next year. I'm knee-deep into booking talent for the music festival. I think we've got about 7 or 8 confirmed acts so far. We'll end up doing 62 to 64, and we'll announce those in February.
Are you still interested in suggestions?
Sure.
These folks may have some suggestions on who they'd like to we'd like to see perform?
What's that?
Robert Randolph.
We had Robert about 2 years ago. He headlined the Blues Tent, I think, in 15. He's a great performer. We try to not repeat a lot of acts, or invariably you'll end up repeating some acts. But from year to year, we try to space them out a little bit because a lot of people attend the festival. Our event's known for the broad diversity of talent. If you go to a Bonnaroo or some of these others, they've got a little bit, but we're all over the place. We've got pop, rock, EDM, hip hop, Americana, soul, and that's something that's a benchmark that we're known for. So we do all kinds of talent. Who else besides Robert Randolph do you guys want to see? What?
JT.
Who? JT. JT, would be great. I don't know that he's ever played a festival. Because he's come up a lot of times because being from Memphis, he would reinforce the heritage. But he's got a highly produced show. And you have acts that you look at, I've never seen one of his live shows, but I've heard about them, and they're very production heavy. And so you have a lot of acts that don't want to play in a festival environment because they have a big theatrical set or a lot of production elements, and they can't necessarily replicate that when they go out and play major arenas or stadiums. And I remember that some board members asked about him a few years ago, and he's never played a festival to my knowledge. So do you guys not like music, or just bashful, quiet? Raise your hands of people that have attended the music festival before. I'm gonna raise them high. Okay. Who do you want to see? I'll let you think about it. We'll go to you.
I think you ought to bring Al Green back.
Al Green?
Have you guys voted on our Choose 901 poll? Anyone seen that going around? No?
Are you guys familiar with Choose 901? They got a poll out right now. We gave them a list of a lot of the acts that we're considering. And you can go online and vote for your favorites. And we're using that as a little bit of guidance. The selection, the determination of the artist varies based on their availability and pricing and so on and so forth. But we do quite a bit of research, and I'm always interested when I come out here to speak to this class to get some input on what you guys want to see. Do you guys go to other festivals around the area, or?
I'm not even sure what else is here besides King Biscuit down in Helena, or Bonnaroo.
Well, Bonnaroo in Nashville. You got Lou Fest up at St. Louis and Fort Castle and Louisville and Hangout at Gulf Shores, Shaky Knees in Atlanta. There was a hippie festival over in Arkansas, Wakarusa, but they had some financial problems.
Hippie Festival?
Well, really, it's a dope smoker festival, so I was trying to be diplomatic there.
Well, speaking of that, did Arkansas legalize medical marijuana this week?
I haven't been tracking that.
I heard they did. I know Massachusetts and Nevada did, but I didn't know Arkansas was on the ballot.
It may have been. But let's stay on topic here, Chris. I know that's one of your areas of interest.
Well, I'm thinking about going to that hippie festival.
Well, it went out of business, and that's the problem.
Oh, it did? Oh, shoot.
So how many people, again, are wanting to go into the event business? Raise your hand. Okay, the only rate's low. There's not.
They're not fully committed.
They're not committed. It says about 7 of you. Keep your hands up. See if the upper arm strength is. What do you want to do ideally?
Well, initially my plans were just like weddings and parties, but now I'm looking more into events like
Special events?
Yes.
Okay. What about you?
Weddings.
Weddings, okay.
Like special events,
Special
like
events?
music, etc., sports.
Okay. There's a couple more back there.
Weddings,
Weddings,
like the mid-size,
mid-size special events,
especially sporting events.
sporting events, okay, great. Are any of you familiar with the International Festival and Events Association? Ever heard of that?
What was it called again?
International Festival and Events Association, IFEA. It's an organization, kind of a governing body for festivals globally, worldwide. They have great educational activities and opportunities dealing with the special event business. In fact, you went to Tucson, didn't you? Mr. Braden here went to his first conference this year out in Tucson back in September.
Well, Jim, you've served as president of that organization,
I
haven't
was on
you?
the board for 7 or 9 years, something like that, and I was the chairman about 4 years ago. But the reason I bring that up is that they have some outreach programs with a lot of, several universities that have special event programs. I think it's in Chino, California, University of California, Chino. It's got a big special event. And there's a few others around the country that are really focused on that. So if you have a real interest in event planning, that's something that you may want to look at. They've got a pretty decent website. And I think they've got a pretty low entry fee as far as for a student membership. So for a pretty modest fee, you could sign up and become a member of that association. I encourage you to look at it. Grant, you want to speak to it, all the stuff you learned?
Yeah, terrific way to network and get your name out there. There were a lot of college students. Huh?
Stand up and take the stage.
Okay.
I'll take a water break.
I mean, there were a lot of college students, and I think that they really benefited from it, just getting their name out there. And there were a lot of breakout sessions that we did, and everyone just had the opportunity to kind of learn and go into the different classes that they wanted to. So, yeah, it was just a really good opportunity to meet other people and to just kind of hone whatever skill that you wanted to do. So,
Well, plus you get to go to a great city like Tucson. Fabulous place. I'm sure you had to drink a couple of beers or margaritas down
No,
there.
it's all business, all business.
what was it, like the gastronomical capital? What is it? No, whatever. It was. There's a lot of food options there.
Yeah.
So that's all.
A lot of cactus. Interesting place.
Tucson's a great place.
Yeah. So what else would you like to know? I've got a fairly feeble mind, but willing to share if you have any questions.
I know you've all got a couple of questions written down because you're going to pass them in to me. So is there anything else you folks want to know about Memphis in May? Now's your chance. Why do they do it this way? Why don't they do it that way? Why does it cost so much? Why doesn't it cost more? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Are there ever any job openings versus so many volunteer options?
Yeah, there's, just getting ready, I'm glad you brought that up, just getting ready to mention it. We do a number of seasonal hires to work at the events going on. And we have some openings, we'll bring people in like mid-April through June, or just on event days. And we'll be posting those probably first part of January. So go to our website, memphisinmay.org, and you can look for employment opportunities. In addition to that, again, we have, depending if you don't have the time to really commit to work, but want to get involved, get some experience, I encourage you, we're going to have a volunteer expo. I think it's end of January or 1st of February?
1st February.
1st of February. See, Grant has all the answers. I think we're doing it out at the Memphis Botanic Gardens. But I've often said when I speak to groups just about the festival in general, one of the things that's beautiful about it is there's an area of interest for just about everybody. If you want, we've got a warehouse we own downtown. We build things and prep equipment before we move into the park. We also have people working on museum exhibits. We have people hosting foreign guests that are coming to town. We have people that are working on our hospitality committee, doing food service backstage and at our various events for, if you've got any food service experience, I encourage you to apply to that committee. They seem to enjoy it and come back each and every year. But we're always looking for new people to get involved. What are some of the other committees? Transportation, communication, logistics.
And again, it's a way to get your name out there
Yeah,
for other people, because that's what it's all about.
yeah, and get some practical experience. We'll go to our website first part of January and we'll have our seasonal postings up. Any other questions? You guys just want to get out of here? They did show up. They've all stayed for the most part. You fine if they leave early?
Well, I told them you were gonna throw out some free tickets or something.
Oh, that you did. So you guys don't have any input on who you'd like to see at the music festival?
I've been telling them Chance the Rapper. I don't know how that rings with you guys, but I think that would be a huge draw. He's a lot of money, but
All right, I'm going to throw out some names since you've got a nonverbal class here. What do you guys think of Blink 182?
Yeah.
What about Soundgarden? What about Wiz Khalifa?
Yes.
What about Ludacris?
Yes.
What about MGMT?
Yes.
What about Tove Lo?
Yes.
Tori Kelly?
I don't know.
Chance.
Jimmy Eat World? Get some response here from the back row. You've been fighting sleep the whole class. Come alive here now.
I mean, every band you said, like, no complaints at all.
Bush? Drive-by Truckers?
I don't know who that is.
Midnight Oil?
I mean, you have to, like, do it very broad, don't you? Like you said earlier, kind of caters to a whole lot of different styles of music. Greg Allman.
Greg Allman? I think he's played down in Tunica in a couple of weeks.
Is the festival experience important to you guys? So like the experience as a whole, is the lineup all that matters to you guys? Or is it just like, basically you can post a cool Instagram picture and you can show everyone that you're there? I mean, that's what's important these days, isn't it? That's what I think, but I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think it should be more than just music. I mean, you should focus on, the cultural aspect too, instead of just, I don't know, just listen to nothing.
So the lineup's what gets people there, but I think then obviously the experience is what will make people come back the next
That's right.
day and for all 3 days.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Well, I think when you talk about the whole experience, I think the hotels really play ball, the restaurants really play ball. We really put on a pretty good, the city puts on a good show for these folks,
Yeah.
for these visitors.
Yes, they did.
And of course, it's good revenue, it's good business.
About Usher.
Maybe make it a 2 weekend.
What's that?
Have 2 weekends?
No, I don't know that we have the capacity here locally for that. You know, Jazz Fest does 2 weekends. And some of the bigger destination festivals in larger markets where they had the capacity, they started doing bookend. I think they do it in Austin, they do it in LA. I don't know if they do it in Chicago or not. And I think Miami, because they're able to they've got enough capacity for people who want to attend. And that way they can pay the artist enough for 2 weekends and they can just kind of lay low during the week. So that's why you had a number of festivals start doing too. So did you think of anything else that you wanted to see?
Anything else? Any other questions, comments, observations? Well, let's hear it for Jim and Grant. Thanks, fellas.
You're very welcome. I think you give them all an A. No one fell asleep.
Follow us on social media.
That's a step in the right direction. We'll see how they do in preparing this banquet next Thursday
I'm sure
night.
they'll do a fabulous job for you. So go to memphisinmay.org if you want more info. Look for seasonal positions to be posted in January, or if you want to volunteer. We hope to see you in May.